His face is recognized all over the world. The young medical student who became a revolutionary icon. But was Che Guevara a heroic champion of the poor or ruthless warlord who left legacy of repression? And yes, we are talking about Ernesto Che Guevara. In the early 1950s, he left behind a privileged life as a medical student in Argentina to travel through rural Latin America. The poverty and misery he witnessed convinced him that saving lives required more than medicine. So he became a revolutionist seeking to violently overthrow the region's government. The region's government were brutal oligarchies. Colonies may have formally ended, but elites still controlled all the wealth. American corporations bought up land originally seized from indigenous people and used it for profit and export, even keeping most of it uncultivated while locals starved. In 1953, Che came to Guatemala under a democratically elected government of President Arbenz. Arbenz passed reforms to redistribute some of his uncultivated land back to the people while compensating the landowners, but he was overthrown in a CIA sponsored coup. The military was protecting against the seizure of private property and communist takeover. They were protecting corporate profits, and Che saw that they would use the fear of communism to overthrow any government that threatened those profits. So he took the lessons of Guatemala with him to Mexico. There he met exiled Cuban revolutionaries and decided to help them liberate their country. Dictatorship was what Cuba had before the revolution. Batista was a tyrant who came to power in a military coup. He turned Havana into a luxury playground for foreigners while keeping Cubans mired in poverty and killing thousands in police crackdowns. Even President Kennedy called it the worst example of economic colonization, humiliation, and exploitation in the world. Che Guevara was instrumental in helping Castro seize power. As a commander in his guerrilla army, he unleashed a reign of terror across the countryside, killing any suspected spies or dissenters. He also helped peasants build health clinics and schools, taught them to read, and even recited poetry to them. His harsh discipline was necessary against a much stronger enemy, who didn't hesitate to burn entire villages suspected of aiding the rebels. Let's not forget that the new regime held mass executions and killed hundreds of people without trial as soon as they took power in 1959. The executed were officials and collaborators who had tormented the masses under Batista. The people supported this revolutionary justice. He oversaw land redistribution, helped establish universal education, and organized volunteer literacy brigades that raised Cuba's literacy rate to 96%, still one of the highest in the world, which allowed the government to control what information everyone received. Guevara's idealistic incompetence as finance minister caused massive drops in productivity when he replaced worker pay raises with moral certificates. He suppressed all press freedom, declaring that newspapers were instruments of the oligarchy. And it was he who urged Castro to host Soviet nuclear weapons, leading to the Cuban Missile Crisis that brought the world to the brink of destruction. He was a leader, not a bureaucrat. That's why he eventually left to spread the revolution abroad, which didn't go well. He failed to rally rebels in the Congo and went to Bolivia even when the Soviets disapproved. The Bolivian government, with the help of CIA, was able to capture and neutralize the revolutionists in 1967, before he could do much damage. As Che said, the revolution is immortal. He was publicly mourned in cities all over the world, and his story would inspire young activists for generations to come. Che Guevara was captured and executed by government forces in Bolivia. His remains would not be found for another 30 years, but he died a hero, or had he already become a villain? And should revolutionists be judged by their ideals or their outcomes? These are the questions we face when we put history on trial. Thank you for watching Economy.pk.